Okay, so those of you on online now, I want to introduce you to Scott Novak. If you haven't had a chance to hear Scott talk to CFOA, Scott has been just an awesome friend of what we do at the high school level. He was a member of the Denver Football Officials Association years ago and moved up through the college ranks, worked a national championship game at the college level as a white hat, and now he's in the NFL as a white hat. And it is just a pleasure always to have him come talk. A lot of times we'll have Scott come join us at our summer clinics if he's available. Just sheds light on different things that we just don't have a chance to think about at that level. And tonight I think we're going to have an opportunity to hear Scott just break down things in a deeper way, and it's just awesome and such a good friend of the game and what we do. So Scott, thank you for being with us tonight. Those on the call, we may run a little bit long tonight just because the opportunity to chat with Scott. I won't try to go too deep into your second half of the game or your family activities, but we may run a little bit longer tonight. So with that, Scott, welcome. Anything you want to start off with before we jump into some of this?
No, I appreciate the opportunity, and as I've told you and probably a lot of the guys on the call before, I've been where you've been. I've been in your seat. I've been a rookie. I've started. I've screwed a lot of stuff up at the high school level, and if I were to go back and try to officiate a high school game, I guarantee I'd screw a lot of stuff up. So it's the way it is. But at the end of the day, it's a football game, no matter what level you're at, and we've got one job to do, and that's to manage it and administer it the right way, and best team wins. So it's even the rules might be a little bit different no matter what level we work, but at the end of the day, it's just a football game. So don't let anybody else tell you any different.
And Scott walks the walk too. When we were in the pandemic season, I remember the story came out that Novak was working a 7th grade game somewhere in preparation for his season, and I think somebody on at the DFOA level said they yelled out, "What do you think, you're in the NFL?" or something to that effect, and Scott denied it. But yeah, again, it's just the same game. Here's a quick question for you, Scott. Talk about, I tend to preach a lot about mechanics, and do you guys spend a lot of time focusing on mechanics or a manual or how things are done mechanically, and help us appreciate the need for mechanics even at your level?
Yeah, the mechanics are a very, very large part of what we do. I mean, obviously everything else molds you into being a good official, knowing the rules, being in shape, all that other stuff. But at the end of the day, mechanically, to officiate a play and to get it right, or to have a chance to get it right, you have to be doing certain mechanics, certain movements. You have to be in a certain position to be able to see something the way that you need to see it. And we don't necessarily have manuals, but we have a lot of PowerPoints that cover basically every situation that you can think of. And we are graded, again, in our game, we're graded on every play of every game. And a big part of it is mechanically what we do. And you can just see, unfortunately, we have way too many cameras out there and too many eyes looking at what we do. So they can basically pinpoint if we're standing in the wrong spot or looking at the wrong thing or whatever. So mechanics are huge. And even in even more so in a 5-person game where you've only got 5 sets of eyes versus 7, and you still have the same amount of players, unless you're doing a 6 or an 8-man game type thing. So mechanics are huge. And being in the right spot at the right time is critical to try to help yourself get the call right. And again, even if you're in the right spot at the right time, looking at the right thing, we still may miss it. I mean, it's no guarantee. But again, mechanically, you've got to follow what you need to do to make sure that you put yourself in the right position.
So let me build on that. So you guys obviously prepare for your games. A lot of hours are in preparation, and your pregame talk at the high school level, we're somewhat limited. Maybe some guys get to travel, an hour on the road to their game as a group in a car, which might generate some conversation. And then you get ready and you might have a half hour of what do we talk about? And sometimes it turns into some storytelling type stuff, which is not always productive. But can you share with us what your pregame looks like? You guys arrive the night before. Obviously, it's a little different arrangement. Tell us about your pregame.
Yeah, for me, it's kind of in a sad way. It's really never ending. So, I'll read the rule book every night, but specifically when we go to games, I mean, obviously that plane time, the 1, 2, 3 hour plane ride, we can sit and read rule books, or we can sit and go through film and do some scouting of the teams that we're going to do. So that's an advantage that, granted, you don't have and you don't want to do when you're trying to drive to your game. But when we do get on site and we do our pregame, I try to keep my pregames anywhere between an hour and 15 minutes to an hour and a half tops. That's it. We don't want to do overkill. We're always covering different things. It's structured, but it's different. So we're not always talking about the same thing. We always want to cover rules. We want to do scouting. And then obviously we want to talk about our next game, which is totally different from the high school because, like I said, I've been there. I had the Thursday night, the Friday night, and the Saturday game, so I get what that's all about. But our pregame, when we get in there, it's pretty scripted, but it's to the point, and I don't like wasting time because, again, guys are traveling. It's a long day, whatever. I want them to rest up. I want them to get some food and make sure they're ready to go for the game. But, I try to keep things to a T. I get everybody involved. We do not sit there and for an hour and listen to me talk. Nobody, especially if you've seen me on TV, you do not want to hear me talk for an hour. It just bore the hell out of you. So I do get everybody involved. I make sure that everybody's got a part because, again, at the end of the day, we're a crew and everybody's got to take ownership of what we do.
So how much of your pregame is focused on like the scouting of the teams and what the teams are doing that might be something you need to focus on, and how much is really on your rule book and mechanics and things like that?
So it's about a 70-30 split. I'd say the last 30% of it, Terrence, who's my back judge, we call it time with T. We put the strobe lights on and he puts the video up and he's got both teams scouted, different situations, players, whatever. And that's where we get our team stuff. Then we also cover rules. We cover some mechanic stuff, case plays, things of that nature. But really, 30% of it is about the teams. And I might be different than somebody else. I don't talk about last week's game at all. Once we're done with it, we're done. Throughout in the course of the week, we have a Google sheet that we put up. Everybody watches the game, whether they watch it on the plane or they watch it when they get home. And they'll put things in about certain plays so we can evaluate ourselves as a crew. But when we get in there on Saturday, that game's done. We're totally done. It's graded. It's being graded right now. I've got my other computer up to see what they're doing. But when Wednesday and the grades are final, we're done with that game. And we're on to the next one. So we don't talk about that stuff unless something came up that we need to really address. And I don't have to say what that is. You'll know what that is because, just like you said, if you're working as a crew on Thursday night and something came up and you're all working together on Friday, I guarantee you it's going to be part of your pregame on Friday.
We talked a little bit about this, and then I'm going to show a film or a clip, and we can just open up your view of how some of the things that you look at on a game clip. But talk about, we even at my age, I've been doing this for 30 some years. Somebody can be critical of your action, and you're instantly going to put up a wall and say, this is how I've been doing it. Leave me alone. How can a guy like you who's made it to the top like this? How can you help all of us from the top to the bottom of our association be coachable? What do you do to be coachable even at your level?
Well, you just hit on it. I think you have to allow yourself to be coachable. If this is something that you want to continue to do and you want to get better, you have to learn how to adjust, how to adapt, and how to be coachable. Take criticism. Be very self-critical of yourself. If you're able to watch the film on Huddle or however you gain access to that, the good and the bad thing about film is it doesn't lie. As much as we always want to tell ourselves, this is what I saw, when you turn that film on, it's going to show you exactly what happened. And we can always try to tell ourselves, I know I'm right. But a lot of times when we turn that film on, maybe we were wrong. And you've got to own up to that. And you've just got to figure out a way to, what did I do wrong on that play? How can I get better? Was it my positioning, mechanics? Was it my judgment? What was it? But, even at our level, there's people that would, we know there's many, many folks that would love to be in my shoes. So it's incumbent upon me to hone my craft each and every day. I have to do that. I have to do that for myself. I have to do it for the game. And, we're at a level where the players they're the best at what they do. But, no matter what level that you're at, and I always tried to do it, and I'm not going to say I mastered it or whatever, but no matter what level I was at, I always wanted to be the best at whatever level I was, the best high school official or Division II or Division I official. You just try to be the best at what you can do. And whatever position you're working, you just try to be the best at that too, because sometimes your position changes. So you just, Kirk, and you hit on it, you've got to be adaptable to what you do. You've got to be open to change. Things are going to change. If if the association or the national association says you're going to have mechanics change, you may shake your head and say that's not going to work, but you know what, you got to give it a go, and you got to make it work. And if something changes in the mechanics manual, it may not make sense, but you got to try to make it work. And that's the thing. And you know what, we don't really have a choice. If something changes, we've got to do that. But again, at our level, yeah, there's a lot of pride and there's some very, very big egos, but you know what, you got to check it at the door, and you've just got to try to make sure that you're improving each and every day, each and every year, because I guarantee I'm not getting any younger and these players aren't getting any younger.
Do you look at other white hats and see how they do it and see what you might pick up, good, bad? You critique them, at least to yourself, and then try to pick up some.
You know, I did. That when I started, I absolutely. You know, especially when I got into high school, there were three guys when I got into high school, and I tell them every time I see them: Mike Contreras, Dan Weichel, and Rich Zernicke. When I got into high school football, those were the three guys that I watched when I could. I would go out and watch those guys, and I made them a part of me. And I did that as I was moving up too, Kirk. I mean, you know who the good ones are. You see them, and you just kind of watch and you pick things from these people, and you make them into you. I don't necessarily do that much anymore, and I'm not saying that because I think I'm God and I'm above all that, because I'm not. Because again, I will still pick out little nuggets from anybody. I don't care if it's a damn high school game or a college game. If I see somebody doing something, I'm going to save that clip. I'm going to go back and watch it and see if it can fit into me. Because again, I want to improve. But I did that constantly as I was moving up, because I knew who was good and I wanted to emulate them and just take a little bit of what they did and try to build it into me. And is that the only way to do it? Probably not, but that's just the way that I chose to go about
it. Good stuff. And thank you again. These are great bits of information. So I've got three plays and these are just totally random, and then Scott and I were talking through them a little bit, but they're fun to listen to Scott break some things down. And so we're gonna show this one. This is a snap from about the 7 coming out. Hopefully it's not too choppy on your end. We'll have a snap, a potential tackle, a whole bunch of mess there. Looks like the quarterback tried to either get rid of it or he fumbled it. So I suppose all the pieces, and Scott could have some more here, but thing we could talk about is forward progress stopped or not. Did he throw it? Did he try to pass it? Is it a illegal forward pass? Was it a fumble? There's a lot of information that this white hat's got to process right here at the goal line. So Scott, tell me what you're thinking about on this play.
Well, as the form holds true there in high school, nobody's blocking, so that's great. So a kid shoots the A gap right away. But the big thing is, and we talked about it, the referee's got goal line there, and we talk about forward progress. I like to use the word control of the runner. In this instance, the defender right there controls him in the field of play, spins him. So I'm not going to let anything bad happen. I'm not going to let him throw it. If you're all working with a 40-second play clock, which I think everybody is, as a referee, I'm stepping real hard about the half or the 1 yard line, putting my hand up and blowing my whistle and killing this play, telling everybody I got forward progress. And if I do have the luxury of having a microphone on, I'm flipping the microphone on and saying, rolling on the field is forward progress. It's second down. It's a little, on this play, I think referee throws beanbag and then he signals incomplete, which is kind of mixed signals. And again, we're not trying to call anybody out here. It's just, it looks like he may have something in the field of play and then we've got an incomplete. But personally, for me, I think this is enough for forward progress. I killed it at probably about the half and put the ball right there.
Let me stop this and let me stop you here, Scott. What are your pre-snap thoughts here before this ball is ever snapped? You talked about goal line. Anything else other than nobody's probably going to block, as you pointed out?
I mean, it's a standard front. I mean, it's a 4-man front, and the backers are back there. So ideally, there shouldn't be a whole lot of pressure, because if everybody's coming, you got forward blocking 5. But some kids shoot. So the first, if I see a white color jersey, before I see anything else, then that's going to get my attention. But, again, our mechanics are different. I have right guard, right tackle. I know you probably don't, but right there they move in. So I'm probably looking inside, and the outside right here, I got a stalemate on the out. Right here, I see a white colored jersey. The back is not stepping up, doing anything. He's coming late. So I've got to get there on progress. And right there, I've got engagement by the defender. I've got control about the one, and I'm going to rule on it there and be strong with it. Be really strong.
Would you blow this dead?
Yes.
Before this other nonsense even occurred?
Yes. Hopefully I would.
Yeah.
And again, understand when you say blow this dead before the other nonsense, you don't have to beat the nonsense to blow your whistle, but just have an idea of what you're going to have. If it takes you a while to process it, that's okay. And I think this referee does a nice job because the first thing that hits, you see the beanbag in the field of play. So I think he's thinking, in my mind, that tells me if I'm watching the film, he's thinking progress in the field of play.
Yeah, and I think in his defense, I think this predated our 40-second clock. I think this goes back a little ways.
Yeah, but I think in today's game with the 40-second clock, I would go ahead and kill it, get my hand up, and like I said, if I had a microphone, I'd flip it on and say, ruling on the field is the quarterback's progress was stopped at the half-yard line, second down, whatever down it's going to be.
Let me flip to this next play.
Oh,
this play's a punt. So we're going to be punting from right to left. What are your pre-snap thoughts here?
So before you even run the play, here's what I'm thinking. Again, I'm not going to jump into mechanics, but if I was the referee, I'd probably, looks like he's about at the 12. Ideally, I'd probably want to be somewhere about the 9 or 10. But if your mechanics tell you you have to be that close, then do what your mechanics tell you. But I think if you're backed up by your goal line there, so freeze it there. The other thing that I saw pre-snap was I see 8 or 9 guys in the box. Everybody's got their hand down, which tells me everybody's probably coming. I don't know what the score is. I have no idea. But that just tells me we're going to get a big rush. So expect some action in and around the punter for roughing, running into whatever. And as truth be told, nobody's blocking. A bunch of white guys in jerseys are standing there, and guys are running free. So, again, the best thing you can do when this ball is blocked is sit there and judge the action on the punter because he could probably still be fouled. And then the best thing that you want to do, you're in survival mode. Make sure that you don't get run into. I think deeper would be better here. If you could be a little wider, that'd be great. And then, Kirk, as you talked about, you've got possession as to whether or not he actually got it in the end zone and or before it went out of the back of the end zone. So you got a lot of stuff going on here. And you're not going to get a lot of help from your line of scrimmage guys because they're on the line of scrimmage. So you're on your own on this one.
Now, we do have a mechanic, that head linesman at the top. His job is to wait there, watch the action, and not move downfield until the ball crosses the line of scrimmage, or he's certain the ball will remain across the line of scrimmage. So in this case, his eyes should be moving back to help with all that traffic around the referee.
Yeah, no, the only thing I would say for the line of scrimmage, right there, stop. Okay, so the play, I think we should still be going back there.
Yeah.
Again, I'm picking pepper out of fly shit here.
You're talking about this wing probably moving that way.
Still be moving in that direction. Again, unless the play's already been dead and now he's dead ball officially. I don't know. So if the play's already been ruled dead and the ball's out of the back of the end zone, then absolutely I think it's fine doing what we're doing.
No, but you're right. Most of the action is back behind the line of scrimmage here.
Yeah, the money line is behind you, and the only way that you get a cash in on the money is if you got that ball behind the money line, so we got to find out who's got the ball. And that's a tough look from the 25 or the 30 there where the line of scrimmage people are.
Do you have anything for our white hats on maybe what do you think about, did he bobble that? That might have even bounced off the ground. That was just a low catch. What do you think about when potential roughing the punter defenders are coming at your kicker? What helps slow the game down so you can see what you need to see?
Well, again, it's really about your angles and your mechanics. So ideally, I would like to be a little bit wider and a little deeper because I can see if the kid coming in up the middle, he's going to take it. He's coming in straight. So he does peel off a little bit right there. So again, he's got a good angle. So this kid's coached up pretty well as far as trying to block the kick. So if I was standing a little bit closer to the hash, little bit deeper. If he missed the ball, I would have a better chance of not getting myself straight lined. And I know we don't like to use that, but if you've got that, again, it's about angles and seeing things. So I think a little bit wider, you'd have a better chance to see whether or not he gets a piece of the pie or not. But to the defender's credit, he does a nice job kind of rounding it off and laying himself out ahead of where the kid's kicking the ball. So, yeah, and it looks like we just got a scoop and score there. So,
yeah, I think he ended up picking it up and carrying it across. But
yep. Yeah. So, I mean, overall, I think this referee did probably, about as good as you could do being back there by yourself. You're kind of on an island back there when something like this happens. And that's why the referee makes the extra $5 a game or whatever they make, and they got to make that call. That's what it's all about.
They just get to wear that clean white hat. I think that's about all the bonus they get with our. All right, let's see. That's kind of. Oh, okay. So what we're going to see on this play is a catch, fumble, return to the goal line, and I just think it's a good example of what all we need to see when all of a sudden the directions all change on us, and how we want to do a better job of seeing maybe potential fouls. I'll let it run all the way through, and then I'll run it through a little slower. Our white hat is certainly in a good position to signal at the end of the play. But I think it just emphasizes.
So have we met everything for a catch? Have we met the catch requirements?
Good point. So
yeah.
did we officially rule this as a good ruling as a catch and fumble?
Yeah. So I think we do. We got a beanbag down. Now freeze it right here.
Let me go back and you tell me where to stop it. So I'm going to take it back.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, you can go. So we know we got catch fumble. So go ahead, keep playing. Okay, we get a couple of beanbags out here. Say we got a ball down. So now we got to pick up when we're going the other way. So let it go. My only question and concern is right here. Stop. So, and you touched on the other one. I'm not sure if the line of scrimmage official needs to come onto the field. This one right here. That's fine. But my bigger concern is the umpire. I don't know what advantage we gain by just being stationary there with hands on our knees and looking. And really, if you run this through, this umpire does not move at all. So that tells me if I'm looking at the film, all we're doing is probably watching the runner going all the way down. Maybe we don't want to follow the play or trail the play because we threw our beanbag and we don't have to want to run all the way back to get our bag. I don't know what the issue is here, but I wouldn't do that. I'd throw my bag and I would continue just like this line of scrimmage person is to go down and officiate and keep everything boxed.
Sorry, I hit the wrong button there.
Okay.
Looks like we did have a flag at the top of the screen by the head linesman. I think he might have picked up a blindside block or a block in the back somewhere. I don't know if he threw it on that. Not sure I like that one, but I think I'm with you, Scott. I don't think we want to be officiating on the field of play here. We want to be off the field. But let's just talk real briefly. It seems like we can narrow down the potential fouls, and so when we see this direction change, we've got a lot of. Here's where that I think the flag came out for this block right here. But what are we looking for here? What are those potential fouls that we think a knucklehead 16-year-old is capable of?
Yeah, I mean, I think anything low, anything blindside, and maybe a block in the back.
I could see how those. We talk a fair bit about the when you're in pursuit, you look for those guys that you can almost see them line up a hit, whether it's a blindside or a block in the back. You can just see them 3 or 4 steps before they ever make that contact. You can hone in on. The tough part is, where are everybody's eyes? We certainly don't want the trailing officials all looking at the same thing. You pointed out shouldn't be looking at the ball. That should just be one official, but that's got to transition here at some point from probably that wing official at the top to the referee.
Yeah, the only thing the wing official should look is if the runner were to be getting close to the sideline, hugging the sideline, whether there's a step out or not. But other than that, all we should be doing is officiating blocks. If the kid's going to fumble the ball, everybody's going to know it. Referee does a good job here, and you lose the back judge. I assume the back judge is coming down the field too, because they were already moving forward as the kid was going the other way.
I really like your question, Scott, about catch, no catch. We try to spend a lot of time on, is there enough time during that process for that receiver to actually catch the ball? You know, we don't have the similar statements that other levels do, where making a football move and things like that. I think we tend to, if we make a mistake, we typically make it incorrect as it being a fumble as opposed to no catch. It's easy to see it catch, fumble, and it's kind of hard to overrule that once you see that in your head in full speed.
Yeah,
but
it's hard. As much as we'd love to say we can see a foot down or 2 feet or whatever, just kind of use the old axiom: if it's in and out pretty quick, just wipe it out. It's probably incomplete. I think he does enough here.
All right, so I think we're probably into the second half by a little bit now. One of the things I wanted to talk a little bit about is it seems like a lot of the credibility we as officials will gain or lose is something. Well, it's certainly related to what the white hat looks like. We many times have talked about how you get your white hat to look good, present things well. A lot of the other stuff just kind of falls into the shadows of that. Can you give us anything in regards to signals or communication or things that could help us that jump out to you as you're talking to high school guys?
Yeah, well, you just touched on a bunch of them, and the way that you present yourself is everything. And it's not so much your signals and everything, but it's how you communicate with the coaches pregame, how you're communicating with the players out there on the field, how you kind of command, how you manage the game. Are you in control? Are things pretty smooth? Are they choppy? Whatever. I think the more that you can be in control out there and be smooth with what you're doing, and just even if you screw something up and you look good when you do it, people buy into it. And trust me, we all make mistakes. We all do at every level. But if and it's not that you're trying to BS somebody, but you just you got to have that presence about you. And again, it's I think everyone knows what I mean when I say that, but you just got to be in control. You don't want to be too in control to where you're just in cruise control and you look aloof out there. But you just want to make sure, because the shit's going to hit the fan, pardon the pun. And you've just got to be that person out there, like you said, that knows how to handle that. And you'll get a reputation. The coaches will know that, hey, this person can handle it, or maybe this one can't, or whatever. And that's, we were all rookies. And who do the coaches go after as an official? They're always going after the rookies. They always try to get under them. And that's just part of, you kind of earning your stripes. But I think the more that you can keep yourself under control and just make sure that or give the appearance that you know what you're doing out there, that's going to go a long way. And like you said, it's going to not cover everything up on the outside, because again, we're all accountable to ourselves. I mean, we all got to look good. We got to look good. We got to look well, this, that, and the other. But the referee is kind of the face of the crew for the most part. And to your point, Kirk, if they present themselves well in every aspect of the game, and there's a lot to do, then I think that goes a long way for the credibility of that crew that night.
One more question for you before we end this. Can you think of something you do so much better as a white hat in presenting that whole presentation that you do now than you did back when you were a high school official?
I slowed down. God, I think when I go back and still watch tape of myself in college and trying to get through false start offenses. I literally said it that fast. And now I don't want to go too slow, but you just want to be presentable. And just like you and I are doing right now, we're talking. Once you flip that mic on, it's you and I having a conversation. You look at that camera, you know which one is on, and you're just talking. You're not going too fast. You're enunciating very, very well. And basically speaking so everybody can understand you. And that's the big thing. Just, we always tell ourselves, if you think you're going slow, go slower. Well, there's a lot of truth to that when you flip that microphone on as a referee. Try not to go too fast and just have a conversation out there. Look at somebody. If it's a nice looking lady, and just look at her, just talk to her, tell her you got holding on the offense, number 69. It's a 10-yard penalty, second down, and she'll love you to death if you go that slow. But if you just speed through it, you just lost her right there. I guarantee it.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, I think we're going to call it, Scott. I cannot thank you enough. This the opportunity to chat with you, and hopefully we can get to do it again sometime, and maybe we'll even see you this summer at maybe one of our clinics. So
Yeah.
you've been
Anytime you want to invite me, always open.
such a great friend of ours. All right, very good, Scott. Good luck this weekend. We'll be cheering you on.
See you, Jim. See you, John.
Thank
Good
you.
to see you. Take care.